What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So, Congress just passed a bill for $886 billion, and it's going to the Social Security Administration. Okay, I'm kidding. It's actually not going to Social Security. It's going to our national defense. We're going to talk a little bit about this because you always hear these lawmakers talking about we don't have money. We don't have money for this. We don't have money for Social Security. We don't have money for anything when it comes to helping the American people. But every year, we can spend about $1 trillion on our national defense. And so we're going to dig in. We're going to find out all the details when it comes to where this money is going. And then I'm going to show you something that's going to be pretty shocking. I'm actually going to show you two things that are going to be pretty shocking about this whole military spending. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification, clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitter and Threads, you can at the TEC Show Live. Okay, so let's go ahead. I want to just take a look at what was passed, because for the most part, this bill, and it was just passed in the Senate, but it already passed the House. And so they made a few minor adjustments. And we're looking at a bill that will include the largest raise for service members in over 20 years. I think that's good. That is the only real thing that I can look at and say, okay, yes, this is something that should happen. It should have happened a long time ago. When it comes to our service members, I think they're underpaid, and they should be paid a lot more. Okay, a temporary extension to the controversial surveillance program and measures to strengthen the U.S. stance in the Indo-Pacific against China. Notably, it excludes earlier controversial provisions on abortion and transgender health care from the House bill. The bill also contains provisions to support military families, extend surveillance on foreign nationals without warrants, counter Chinese aggression, and limit what it terms as wokeness in the military, including funding restrictions for diversity programs and prohibition of certain activities. Additionally, it addresses the reinstatement and benefits of service members discharged for not receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. This legislation, while authorized spending, does not appropriate the funds itself, okay? So basically they're saying that the funding will be going out, so the funding will go out, but it's not going there's no revenue stream coming back to the government, or coming back to the American people, if you want to look at it that way, because we're the ones that are paying for this. Okay, just looking at the House vote here, 318 voted for it, 110 voted against it. In the Senate, you had 87 vote for it and 13 voted against it. This is an increase from last year of $28 billion. So there's $28 billion more in this budget than we saw last year. Now, this right here, this is going to blow your mind. This is one of the things I was talking about that's going to blow your mind. These are last year's numbers, okay? $877 billion, that's money that went to our national defense. Now, when you look at the top 10 other countries, $849 billion combined, 10 countries combined, that's how much they're spending on their national defense. And we're spending $877 billion. Do you see something wrong with this picture? We're talking about China here. China has the largest military in the world, but we're spending $877 billion, and they're spending less than a third of what we're spending. There's a problem here. Okay, Russia is in here, India, Saudi Arabia, United Kingdom. So just looking at the numbers here, we are far outspending all other nations. Okay, now to even go a step further, this was put out by Reuters, and this was November 15th. Let's just read the headline here. Pentagon fails audit for 6th year in a row. 6th year in a row. 6 years they've failed the audit. So basically, there's money that's out there that's unaccounted for. They don't know where that money is. They don't know where it is. For 6 years in a row, they failed this audit where they can't pinpoint where the money is going. But guess what? Every year, they get the defense budget And they even get an increase in the defense budget. But you can't account for the money that was spent in 2023, but in 2024, guess what? You're going to get even more money. And I remember I was watching a hearing, and this was just a couple weeks ago, and I did a video about this hearing when they were talking about Social Security, Social Security Administration. They're struggling right now when it comes to getting a hold of these claims. They're actually overpaying people because they're not catching the mistakes when it comes to people are mailing in their pay stubs, and they're supposed to calculate and then go ahead and send them money. And they're sending them too much money. And then years down the road, they're finding this out, and they're saying, okay, guess what? We're sorry, but you owe us $50,000. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. But there are cases like this where people owe $50,000 to the Social Security Administration. And I was listening to some of these lawmakers, and they were very upset, obviously, because these lawmakers are getting these calls from their constituents saying, what is this? I got a letter from the Social Security Administration saying I owe $30,000 or I owe $50,000. How could this be happening? How are they not able to figure this stuff out? And these lawmakers, you know what they said? Because you had the commissioner, the Social Security commissioner on there, the acting commissioner, and she was saying, we need more employees. We actually need more money. We need, our budget needs to increase. And these lawmakers were saying, we can't just throw money at problems. So we need to figure out what the problem is before we just throw money at these problems. And it's funny that these lawmakers were saying this because some of these same lawmakers voted for this defense spending bill. And that lawmaker that I'm talking about, there was a specific lawmaker that was saying this. He voted for this defense spending bill. And when we're looking at this situation where the Defense Department has failed 6 audits the last 6 years, and you keep increasing the money that you're sending them, it makes absolutely no sense. And that's why I say when it comes to lawmakers and they're saying, we need to cut this, we need to cut that, they only want to cut the things that they don't like. The things that they like, the things that are profitable for them, and the reason that I say profitable for them, because when we're looking at defense spending, it's coming from a lot of defense contractors. A lot of these defense contractors are funding these campaigns for some of these politicians. And so it's to these lawmakers' benefit to go ahead and pass these bills every year. So the Defense Department will have enough money so they can go out and buy all these products from these defense contractors. That's what it comes down to. That's the bottom line. And it's sad because it's our money. It's the American people's money. It's our tax dollars. And we're looking at a $33 trillion debt. And I will guarantee you this. I will guarantee you that in January, come close to January 19th, because that's when that first deadline is coming when it comes to our budget, because we still don't have a complete budget for 2024. That'll be the first deadline. And then the first week of February will be the second deadline. When they start talking about the different government agencies, you're going to hear lawmakers talking about we need to cut these agencies. We can't keep spending all this money on these different agencies. They're going to be some of the same lawmakers that voted for $886 billion to go to our military. Some of those same lawmakers are going to be saying, you know what? We need to cut the Social Security Administration. They shouldn't be getting all this money. Or we need to cut these different agencies because they shouldn't be getting all this money either. They're okay spending money on the military because it benefits them. But when it comes to these other agencies, they could care less. So just looking at this whole situation, this happens every year. And I would say in 5 years, we're going to be at $1 trillion. Or, when it comes to defense spending, it's going to be $1 trillion. It's going to be going out every year. But I just don't understand. Like, I understand certain things. When it comes to an increase in pay for people in the military, I totally agree with that. When it comes to all the weapons that we're buying, I don't agree with that. I don't think we need to buy new weapons every year. And if you're getting even more money every year, what are you spending all that money on? Well, a lot of it, actually, the Pentagon doesn't know where a lot of the money's been spent. That's why they're failing these audits. But when you think about it, what are you spending all that money on? The only thing that you can be doing is just buying new weapons, new vehicles, all this stuff. You don't need to buy them every year. And with technology, you should be buying actually less, because with technology, you should have things that can do more with less, if that makes any sense. So if you're buying weapons, you can buy a weapon that can do more, so you don't have to buy as many of those weapons. It might cost a little bit more, but you don't have to buy as many. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on right now, but we do know it passed the Senate. It already passed the House. The president will be signing off on this. So it'll be $886 billion. Yes, it's not going to the Social Security Administration. It should be going to address this Social Security reform, but they haven't talked about that. They haven't talked about how to address that, but we have money to go to our military, and not just our military, but of course, I think there's some funding in there for Ukraine as well. So when it comes down to it, we are, I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore when it comes to lawmakers, because they're not going to be honest with you. They're going to tell you, okay, yeah, we have to spend this money on our national defense. Okay. And most people aren't going to push back, because they're going to say, okay, you know what? We're safe, so go ahead and spend that money. But when it comes to other things, they could care less. And I keep bringing up Social Security because I hear a lot about that. We talk a lot about that on this channel. And when it comes down to it, you have some lawmakers that just want to wait out this 10 years, let the trust fund completely go bankrupt. And then when that trust fund goes bankrupt, then everyone's going to see a 23% decrease in their Social Security benefits. So, this is one of those things that you can address it now. It would have been nice to take $800 billion and put it in some type of an investment fund or something. So in 10 years, that trust fund will have some more money, or address Social Security by raising the payroll tax. But they don't want to look at that. They don't want to talk about that. But they have $886 billion. And like I said, January, February, mark my words, you're going to have politicians talking about cutting these different agencies. And so at that point, I'll be putting out videos and I'll remind you guys of this whole situation here and how they passed almost $1 trillion to go to our national defense. I want to know what you guys think, so let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.